everyone, and welcome to Diane's Den. And today we're going to do a card. Now, we've done one like this before. I think it was at the end of May or beginning of June. I'm not sure exactly. We'll have to look it up. But it was an 8x6 card. Now, and these were all a lot smaller because there was 8 of them, like 4 on each side. So this time I thought I'd do, a 6x6 card. So this one will fit into a nice 6x6 inch envelope, and it looks so gorgeous. And I wanted to use up a lot of my old Christmas paper because I want to buy some of the, well, I have bought some of the new Christmas paper, but using up the old stuff, it's given me room to put the new stuff in. So this is the card we're going to make today, and it's a double diamond card, the same, but these diamonds here on the top hold these diamonds in place, see, so they don't move. So, and I think that makes it a little bit more sturdier. So this is the card we're going to make today, and when we turn it over, we have our panels on the back because this makes this nice and sturdy, and we have our writing panel on the back here too. It does stand up really nicely. You can stand it up and pull it out as much as you want, or crunch it in a bit, turn it around the corners if you really wanted to, but I think it looks just nice and just standing up just like it would normally. So it stands up really sturdy, and with these pieces being nice and sturdy too, that helps a lot. So I'm using an old stamp set. I'm using the same set that I've done for this, which is called Christmas Gleaming. So I've stamped this. Now I'm using Misty Moonlight, and the paper that I'm using is all, as I say, all retired. So except for the Misty Moonlight, that's still available. So I've actually coloured my holly with the same colouring. So what I'm using for this is, I'll just get a piece of it, some old paper here. Oops, you can't see it very well. Let's pop that out of the way. Some old paper here. So this has got Misty Moonlight in it and Polished Pink. That's upside down, but it doesn't matter. So this is what I've done. These are I've done in Polished Pink, the berries, and I've done my holly leaves in Misty Moonlight, so that it all comes together. Now I'm also using a die that is from out of my stash. This just says Merry Christmas, so I've already done that, ready to go. So that's like so, already stamped or punched out and glued onto the gold, so that when it goes on the top, so it looks the same as that one, but in silver. So that's what we're going to do. Now I've already done part of the card because you don't need to see me do the same thing twice as well. So I've done half the card because we know it goes in 2 halves exactly the same. So let's pop those bits out of the way. That's my holly and my saying. And let me show you what you need. So you'll need 2 pieces of card that measure 6 inches by 10.5 inches. One I've already done. Then you will need 2 pieces for your first layer that measure 5 3/4 by, I can't read that from that distance away, 2 3/4. And then you'll need a piece of designer series paper that measures 5.5 by 2.5, and a piece of white for your writing panel on the back, which measures 2.5 by 5.5 as well. So I've got that. Then for my little panels down the side of the card, you're going to need 4, and I've already stuck 3 of them together because we don't need to see me sticking 3 together. So you'll need 4 pieces of this that measure 5 3/4 by 1 1/4 inches, and then 4 pieces of designer series paper that measure 5.5 by 1 inch, which will go onto there. We'll stick them on in a minute because they need a little bit longer to dry. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of card, which I've already got one ready. So let's have a look. We need 2 pieces of card that measure 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. That mesh has to make the same colour as this. That's so that you can pop these ones on here, these two in the middle, okay? Oops. Then you're going to need 6 pieces of your first layer, which measure 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. Now, as I say, I've already done one, so, and I've done 3 out of the normal ones as well, so right, that one goes with that. And then you'll need 6 pieces of designer series paper, that measure 1 5/8 by 1 5/8. So they go on like so. So let's glue all these down, because of gluing onto what you call that, mirror card, it does take a little bit longer to dry. So we're going to glue those all down first. Let's hope this glue is going to work nicely today, as it's raining outside again. So we'll get them glued down. That way they've all got nice time to dry without being getting nasty. So we've got them all done then. Oops, got a bit of block on my paper. So we've got 2 of these that have the 3 layers, and 4 that only have the 2 layers. Right, so let's find the other one of that. Okay, let's pop them out of the way. Let's do this one, and then we'll stamp the writing panel so that that's done as well. So they've all got time to dry nicely while we make the rest of the card up. So that's my front panels all done. Okay, and now we'll stamp this one, which I'm going to stamp in Misty Moonlight, because that's the other colour we're using. The blue is the Misty Moonlight. Ugh, open sesame. And I'm putting the and Be Jolly this season. Okay, so pop that out of the way. Let's give that a few seconds to dry so that it doesn't smudge. And pop that one onto the back writing panel. And now we have all our panels ready to go. So let's move all of them out of the way and bring in our other piece. So we've got 2 pieces of this that measure 6 inches by 10.5, and what you do with one, you do exactly the same with the other. So if you haven't seen the other video with the 6 by 8 version, this one you do exactly the same. You do the 2 panels identical. So, oops, there we have. I've dropped it on the floor. Oh. Okay, so let's bring this in, and we're going to score this on the long side, which is the 10.5 inch side, with our small ball, which is this end, at 1.5 inches. So I'm doing them twice. 3 inches, 6 inches, and 7.5 inches. So that's 1.5, 3, 6, and 7.5. So we're going to mark this at the top and the bottom at 4.5. So just put a little notch at the top turn it over and put a little notch at the bottom. You're not going to see these when you finish your card. So then we're going to turn it onto the short side, and at the 3-inch mark we're going to then draw just quietly with a, let's use a ruler so I can show you what I mean. We're going to pop this here, and we're going to go across to the first score line, which is at the 1.5 inch mark, and then we're going to score down to the 7.5 inch line, and that's it. So we've got this line here, which is from the 1.5 to the 7.5 inch mark. So when you've got it this way, you've got 1.5, 3, 6, 7.5, and one right across the middle there at the 3-inch mark between the first and the last score lines. Okay, we need our scoring tool still. We're going to bring in our ruler now, and we're going to score from this top score line here down to this bottom on the other side. So we're making a right across the whole card from the top to the bottom, score line to score line. So we've got a line right across on the diagonal, and then we're going to turn it around and we're going to do exactly the same the opposite way. Oops, that's not going to work, is it? This way. So from that top one again to the bottom one. So now we've got like a big cross right through the middle. Now from this mark at the top here, you're now going to score from there down to this line, this 3-inch line on the 7-inch side. So you've got another cross here, and then you're going to do the same again from that 3-inch line up to that 4.5 inch mark, which I can't see very well with the light in here today. And you're going to do another score line like so. So you have 2 crosses here and 1 cross here. Now we're going to do exactly the same from the bottom, from that 4-inch mark up to that 3-inch mark, 4.5 inch mark I mean. So we've got another cross there, and then we're going to do exactly the same again from that mark up to the other one, 3 inches on the other side. So we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 20 triangles and 1, 2, 4 diamonds. We're now going to bring in our cutting board, which I've got over here. Oh, over here, cutting board. Should have brought you over a bit closer beforehand. And we're going to cut along that 3-inch line now. So from the 1.5 inch to the 7.5 inch mark along that 3-inch line, we're going to put our ruler. Now you could do this on your trimmer if you like, but I prefer to do it this way. And you're going to cut along that line, just along that line there. So you have a nice little cut right in the middle. Let's put my blade away. There we go. Alright, ruler out of the way. So we now have our cut line at that 3-inch mark. It is better to cut that, sorry I spat on there by the looks of things, to cut that after you've drawn your lines, because it just makes it easier, you're not going to catch it. So now we're going to actually fold, and all of these vertical lines we're going to fold as valley folds. So we're going to start with the first one, just making sure it's nice and even at the top. Bring it over to the second one, and because that's cut there, just make sure that it doesn't bulge out anywhere else. And we're going to pull that a nice one there. I find it easier to turn it around the other way and start at the middle on the other side, making sure that I'm still nice and even down both sides. and then bring it back and do the last one the same. Okay, so we've got these all as valley folds. Now all of the diagonal lines will be mountain folds, so it's better to just squish it, turn it over and give it a burnish down. Squish it along that line, turn it over so that it's laying as flat as possible and burnish that line. Then we're going to turn it the other way and do exactly the same. Squish it, trying very hard not to put extra creases in it, and then do the same with the other one, and that's the top half done. So now we're going to do exactly the same on the bottom half. So we're going to squash that again, bring it over and do the other one. I just find it easier to do it this way, and then we'll go the opposite way. Squash, burnish. Okay, once you've done that, you can see how that's going to now push into the correct shape, like so, at the top and the bottom. So we're going to push them in, I'm going to bring them in nice and tight, and we're going to push them down nice and hard. Turn it over so that it comes together really, really nicely on the back, and we're going to push that down nice and tight. That way we have our two pieces now that look like this. So we turn one up the other way, and we're going to glue these two pieces together in the middle, bringing them so that that score line and this cut line match up, and it matches up along the sides here, which means that this score line and this cut line will match together on the other side, like so. We're going to glue those two pieces together, and it's better to do that before you do any of the other decorating, for the simple fact that we've got time for it to actually stick together, and you can get in there nicely while it's still not a lot of card together. So bring this in up towards that score line there, making sure that it's right up, butted up against it, and it's top and bottom are flat. You've got plant. I prefer to use wet glue because you've got wiggle room. Turn it over, you can see again whether you're up to this line here, and your sides are nice and thin, straight. Give that a nice squash down like so. So now we have our main card, and it's looking just like a proper card now, so you can see that. It looks like it's out of whack there. It's not, it's just the way it is folded. So some of them fold a little bit better than others. So if you want to make sure that it's going to stand up okay, just double check which way stands the best. So for me it doesn't really matter, they're both exactly the same. So we're going to bring in our panels now. We're going to bring in all of our panels, and we're going to start with our middle panel because it's just easier. And we're going to pop this one in the middle like so. And we're going to glue that down. All we need to do is make sure that if we've got a directional pane, with these are all going in portrait style. So I'm going to pop that into the middle there. I'm laying that flatter so I can get my hand in there much better. So between our score lines, our top and bottom panel, we've got a nice even edge all the way. Okay, so now we're going to pop our edges on. So we're going to look and see that we've got these up the correct way for the front, like so. Because we don't want them upside down, and we'll pop one on each side. Once again, if you flatten that out, you'll find that you'll get these on so much nicer than if you try and fiddle around them, because they will go back in nicely. Alright, then we're going to turn it around and do the other side, making sure again that you've got it up the correct way. And we know that we've got all our panels up the right way that way. So now we're going to turn it over like so, so that we can then put these ones on the other side, and we know that we've got them up the correct way. So pop this way and this way. You can always double check before you put it on by going like this. Yes, it's the correct way, just in case for some reason you've got disorientated or been called away and have to come back. So then we're going to turn that so that we know that we've got it the right way again. And I'll check that once more. Yes, it's the right way. Yes, it's the right way. And we'll pop that one onto there like so. Whoops. And then I'm going to put my middle panel in, my writing panel in the middle here, while it's still fairly flat. Because once we put the panels on here, it's going to be a little bit harder to get that on. I'm spitting everywhere today, I don't know why. Ugh. Must have a lot of juice in the mouth. I haven't even had a drink yet. Of anything except a cup of tea. Alright, so I'm going to pop this on and making sure once again that we've got this up the correct way. I'll pop that in the middle. I don't know if you can hear that rain outside, but it is absolutely pouring. Okay, once we've done that, we can bring this back around and we can bring these in so that we know that that's how it's going to go, like so. And we're going to put our panels, and we've got two lots of panels, remember. We've got one lot with an extra piece on them, which is the ones that's going to go here. And then we've got 4 panels that are just the backing and this. So we're going to make sure we pop these on the right way around as well. Oops. I'm going to put that way, I think. So we're going to pop them onto there like so. If you wanted to cut these on the diagonal, you could, but it is a waste of card stock, and I mean like designer series paper stock, and I don't think that those little bits, unless you've got a very, very directional paper, that it makes a lot of difference. So let's see, pop that one onto there. Pushing them down nice and tightly as I go. Oops, get in the middle there. One more. Oh my goodness, that rain is really coming down. I'm going to get soaked getting back to the house from here. Because I actually use my shed, which is fully lined, to do my crafting. So I have just a tiny little bit of a walk. Okay, so we've got our other panels that are going to go on the top, and we're going to pop, like I've done on this one, work out which way around these are going to go. That way or that way. I think we're going to put them that way. That one's already got his on there like so. So I'm going to put a dimensional top and bottom. Wherever I've put the dimensionals, there they are. Oops. Again, sticky fingers today. Alright, once you've done that, you're going to pop them on there. You're going to close that particular side up, and you're going to pop this on so that this edge here comes to the edge of the card the same as it does with the others. Once you've done that, you can see whether or not you've got it in the right spot, and that's going to bring that there. See how much sturdier that is? It's not moving around like this moves around. We're going to do the same on the other side. I just think it's actually a lot sturdier. So you pop that one down flat, bring this one in, making sure you've got it even top and bottom and on the side there. Once you're happy with where it is, pop that down nice and hard. Okay, so see how much sturdier that really is, so much more sturdy. Okay, so once we've done that, we can finish off our card with our other pieces. So I'm going to pop my Merry Christmas in the middle here. So I've already got my dimensionals on the back, well, parts of them. I'm reusing the edges. I don't waste those pieces. Some people do, but I don't. Now I'm going to put this roughly in the middle. No, just above the middle, because I'm going to put one of these down here like so. So once again, let's pull that off the back. I'm going to pop that, oops, I don't want to stuck just there, come on, get off. I'm going to pop that on that angle just there, so none of it goes over the edge of that fold line. We don't want anything to go over that fold line edge, otherwise it's just not going to sit nicely. It will get damaged. Alright, so then we're going to pop one of these on each of the middle sections. Get over there. Come on. Get off. I cut all my fingernails off because they were starting to split. And now I can't pick anything up. Okay, so I'm going to close that one up, and I'm going to pop this on here like so, so that I can see where it's going to go. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. I always loved this set. I found it to be so pretty. So, and I do like this paper. It's a shame that it's all gone now, and that in some ways it's good because it means I have used it. But there you go. So I have these gems, and these are called Drussy adhesive back Drussy adhesive back embellishments. So I'm going to use these silver ones, not the gold ones, the top ones, the gold. Let me put the pin in the glue because of the weather. Right, got that in there. That's not sitting down very well. Here we go. Now I'm going to pop these on here. So I'm going to pop one, a large one, down here. Like so. And then, let's see, I think I'll use the large ones on all of them. This one here. So I'm going to close that up so I can push that down nicely onto that one. And this one that went in the middle here, let's bring that one down and pop that onto there. So that's our card for today, and I hope you've enjoyed that. It's a beautiful, I love the colours on this. It's absolutely gorgeous. I wish that they didn't get rid of some of the lovely colours, but there you go. That's life, unfortunately, but I have enjoyed making this, and I do know that it will fold flat and it will fit into a 6 by 6 envelope. Well, it's just over 6 inches. It's 6 1/8, but it will sit in a 6 by 6 envelope. So if you've enjoyed today's card, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my tutorials. I do enjoy doing them. I do one every Sunday of the month, except for the 3 Sundays over Christmas, and I do a Wednesday Wowser, and then in the last full week in November I do a project Monday to Friday, so it's 5 days, and that will be my table favour week. So Christmas table favour week. So if you've enjoyed today's project, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to know more about them, just give me there's all the links down below. You can go down below here and you'll find the link to my Facebook group called Diane Furniss for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. There you'll find the written tutorial for this. Please be aware that you must answer the question to join the group. If you don't answer the question, you will not be allowed to join the group. Now, in recent times I've actually had to refuse quite a few people because they can't be bothered just to answer the question, and that makes me a little bit cross when all I ask is one little question, and you know, if that's too hard, well, I'm sorry. But that's today's project. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all again next week. Bye for now.